Houston, we have a problem. This morning when I got up and went to open the curtain to let my plants have light, I just found all of this. I don't know if it's considered mildew, mold, just dampness. It's just terrible. It's all over my soil on just about all of my plants. Not quite all of them. There's a few there for some reason that don't have it. These on this end really have it. And then it's pretty bad on most of these. Not good. Sometimes you've just got to punt. I think what I'm going to do, because I think I know why this is happening, I'm fixing to make a big change in how I'm doing this. I hope I hadn't lost too much time. I hope these plants, especially those artichokes that have already come up, some of them about 3/4 to an inch, I hope they can pull it out. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to study up, see kind of the consequences of this going on with my seedling trays. But I think I know what's going on, and I think I'm fixing to pivot and dodge and go a different direction and try to avoid having this happen again. I think I have an idea of why this is happening. I could be wrong. I think the first thing you think to yourself is, did I water too much? Did I just cause it to be too wet and mildew? And while I'm not perfect, and that could have happened, I haven't done anything different than I did last year on my plants. Last year was the first year I had ever started plants indoors. And I started them in seed trays, just your regular black seed trays you can buy at any of the nurseries. And I grew them indoors under grow lights. I did not try to use natural light because I didn't have any windows at my old home that had direct sunlight because of porches and things. They just didn't have direct good sunlight. I decided to try this year at my new house to go ahead and start them in front of the windows, because I have some great south and you get that eastern morning sun coming in windows in my house. I have 4 windows actually that would help with that. And so I decided that's what I was going to do. But you can't fight Mother Nature. And what has happened is these seedlings in this tray are 11 days old. They've been doing fine. They took their usual 7 days or whatever to start germinating, and then they started coming up, and I was so excited. But they're 11 days old today. Well, for the last 4 days, we have had no sun. No sun. It's not raining today, but it's a cloudy day. There's been no sun. Yesterday was one of those days that's misty. You just barely had to put your windshield wipers on. It was just misting, but it went on all day. It was very, very cloudy. It was just the day that made you want to go curl up by a fire and watch TV or read a book, because it was a gross day yesterday. I did get some things done outside, but it was just one of those days that the dampness just kind of got into you. Monday, this is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Monday, it was cloudy. I did a video on Monday, and you can see in that video it was cloudy, and it sprinkled on and off during that day. Sunday, the day before that, we were under flash flood type rains. Rained all day long from morning till into the night. So we have had no sun for 4 days. Saturday, it was sunny, but it was windy. It was very, very windy. I started working on my plant stands to get these plant stands inside, because I was fixing to start the rest of my trays here shortly, probably in about 2.5 weeks. I was going to start my tomatoes and everything else. So I needed to get these plant stands built. So Saturday, I fought the wind and got out there and started working on them. But it was something else. It was something else. I'll show you kind of what was going on Saturday. I'm thinking it's going to be a bad day to film. It's pretty windy. here's the status on my plant stands that I started Saturday, and I'll let you know really quick kind of where I am on those. And I think it's a godsend that I didn't get as far as I wanted to on those Saturday. And it was definitely because of the wind. The wind wore me out. I fought it all day long while I was trying to get tools together, get things cut, get things sanded. That wind, by the end of the day, I was pooped. And I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but now I'm kind of glad. After fighting all that wind, I was at least able to get all my pieces cut out for both of my plant stands. And I got them also, for the most part, sanded. I was ready to start building them Saturday, but I just ran out of daylight. I did get one started. You see here I got the ends and 2 sides on, but that was as far as I got. Then I had to pile everything on this table to kind of get it up off the ground, and I had to put all my equipment up because we had that rain coming in Sunday. So what I have decided to do is to stop building those plant stands. I've decided to stop those. I am going to build another type of stand, and I am not going to worry about my windows. Good as the light is, I'm just stopping that process. I don't want to have this happen over and over to other plants, especially when I get my tomatoes going and stuff. I can't control the weather. I can't control the sunlight. When we go into these days of cloudiness and rain, I don't want to lose my plants. I don't want them to all be always in danger of getting mildew or dampness and mold on them. I don't want that. I didn't deal with that last year. I didn't deal with it. I never had that problem last year. I controlled everything in our house with the temperature and everything. I controlled my watering, and I controlled the lights. And they had those good lights on them all day long, and I didn't have this problem. This year, I'm already having the problem on my very first tray. What if I was sitting there with 5 or 6 trays in my plant stands right now, trying to deal with this issue of no light? So I'm going to get my 4-foot grow lights out. I'm going to build one new stand that will handle what I need to do. And I'm going to ditch the 2 taller stands that were just going to roll straight up to my windows. I'm just going to do it. That's the decision that I've made, and I'm going to go with it. I would feel more comfortable going with it. I'll explain to you what I'm going to do. Here in my den, right when you walk in the front door, I have a painting on the wall, but there's nothing under it. I'm building a console type little shelf unit to go there to put photo albums in. I used to have my photo albums stored away, but I want my kids to be able to enjoy them now. So I want them in my den, and I'm going to build a cabinet to do that with. I still have 2 boxes in my den that are driving me crazy, and they're full of photo albums, large and small. So I'm building a cabinet in my den to put these in. I bought 6 of these little gray crate baskets that I'm going to put all of those photo albums in, and I'm going to build a console shelf with 6 openings that they can slide in. It's going to coordinate with my seed starting rack. So it'll go there, but if you follow that same wall, you go into my dining room, and I have a clock on the wall. And underneath this clock is where I'm going to build the stand that's going to hold my seed starting supplies, on my trays and my grow lights. It'll be under the clock. It'll be about 37.5 to 38 inches high, and it'll coordinate with the one that's going to be in the den. So I think all in all, it's going to really look good. This was my original sketch of what I was going to build. It was a tall, in total 78 inch, but 3 inches at the bottom was the casters. But about a 78 inch tall rack, I guess you would say, with 4 shelves, plus you could always use the top part as a shelf if you needed to. It's above the window, but you could set things on it. I'm going to build 2 of these plant stands. The 3 middle shelves, there, and there, would actually be what held my seedling trays. The bottom shelf would be below my window, so it was just going to be for storage if I needed it for any kind of little sprayers or whatever. And then the top shelf would actually be at the top of the window. You really wouldn't want to put seeds on it, but it would be there if you needed it. Plus, it just kind of finishes off the rack to have it there. So really the 3 middle shelves would be where I would put seedling trays. But I'm not going to do it. This is the one that I'm scrapping. I had made a sketch the other day to build a console type table for my den. I was going to stain it and finish it just like the seed racks, so everything would kind of match because both of them would be in my den. So I've scrapped this one. These are gone, not going to make those. So this is what I'm going to build now. It's the same type of console type that is going in my den under that picture. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build this one that'll go in my dining room, and it'll hold my seed trays. I'll have 17-inch tall cubbies, and they'll be 21.5 inches wide. That's not as wide as I'd like those openings to be, but I can kind of shift the trays to get them in there because they can always go behind the 2x4s and also in the middle a little bit. But what I'm having to do is these shelves can only be 4 foot long because of the boards that I have. So I'm working with what I have, and I don't really want to have to go out and buy new lumber for all of this. So I'm working with what I have. So they can only be 4 foot wide. And so I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to do some modifications that really it's just too complicated to go into, but I'm going to do some modifications to try to get every square inch I can out of these openings. And they're going to be, these legs on them are going to be 37.5 inches tall. And where do I get that from? Well, the uprights that I cut for these stands are 75 inches tall. So I'm just going to draw a line at the middle, the exact middle, and cut those in half. And boom, there I'll have my legs for this one. That's what I'm going to do. I really even wouldn't mind it being a tad taller because I need as much space as I can for the seedlings. But that's just the way it is. I'm just sitting on the floor going over all this with you, so I'm down on the floor. But I'm using the boards that I have, trying my best to just use what I have. I may end up having to go get another 1x12 by 8, maybe. But I'm going to try to use what I have, if at all possible, by tearing apart the other rack that I've already kind of started putting together, using those boards that I had already cut and sanded. I'm just going to try my best to use it. And I'm going to get out there hopefully soon. Today is Wednesday, February 1st, and tomorrow, February 2nd, Thursday, we have rain all day. They were calling for strong storms and giving us warnings days ago, but they've kind of backed down on all the strong storm warnings, and they've backed down on calling it a flash flood event, but they're still showing rain chance all day long from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. So I probably won't be out there working tomorrow. But our weather is showing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday sun. So I'm going to try to get these built by Saturday and then start the staining and painting process and knock these out. Now with the console style little cabinet thing I'm going to build with the 4 openings for my trays, obviously I'm going to put grow lights under there. And I'm going to use the 4 foot grow lights. And so all of that ought to fit under there just fine. But the only drawback of doing it this way is that I'm only really going to be able to fit 4 trays, whereas on the 2 upright racks, I was going to be able to fit 6. But I'm just going to do it. There's several reasons, and you have to take everything into consideration. Number one, I need to get the grow lights going, and I need to do it, I guess, in a way I'm more comfortable. If I had like a porch or a sunroom or something where things could really get a lot, maybe a little more heat, maybe the temperature could be a little warmer, that might help. But when there's no sun and your seeds are just popping up, they're little babies and they're just popping up and they're not getting any sun, that's not a good thing. And also, you moisten your potting mix before you even plant these. So I held off watering for days, and even when I did water, I just kind of spritzed. I only spritzed a couple of times before I actually saw seeds coming up. But I haven't deep watered or anything. So what that's telling me is it's like the moisture that was in that soil wasn't really evaporating as it should. as I think it would if it was to be sitting in front of a window that had sunlight coming through it, that was heating that window and making it where that soil would kind of dry out a little bit quicker. I think the soil may have started doing that in the beginning because I did feel it at certain points and I knew I needed to kind of spritz the top a little bit. But I think it stopped. When the sun stopped, it stopped evaporating. And then it got cold outside, so it wasn't sitting in front of a warm window. It was sitting in front of a cold window. I had the heat mat up under it. It doesn't put off a lot of heat, but it was under it. So I didn't really worry about it because I knew it had that heat mat under it. Maybe I should have just moved it completely away from the window. I don't know. You second guess everything. It's like raising babies. It's just like raising babies, like you're taking them on to raise. You worry about every little thing you're doing. So it's something. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chalk the seed racks. I'm going to build a little console table. The console cabinet, I guess I should call it, with the 4 openings will match what's going to be permanently in my den, so it can permanently stay sitting under that clock. When I don't need it for seedlings, I can always take those lights out and I can put other things in there that I need to store, if there's appliances or just decorative things or whatever that I need to store in there. And I can put a couple of things on top of it. Just say we had a lot of company for Thanksgiving or something. I could put desserts and all on top of that console table. So it's multi-use. It's always good to have things in your house and in your life that are multi-use. So I can still use that as a piece of furniture in my house. It can become a cookbook rack later. If I just quit starting seeds, if I don't need it anymore, I can have it as a cookbook rack. I can have it to decorate with. So in the end, I think it'll work out good and it'll be fine. But that's the troubles that come up when you're doing all this. I just wanted to share it with you. It'd be easy just to start more seeds. It would be easy to just not even talk about it. But that's what's come up. If you've had this trouble with starting seeds and you've ended up with the molding of your soil or whatever, just tell me and give me some tips on what you tried to do. Let me know if you just let time go on and say, okay, say not tomorrow, but Friday the sun comes out and the sun's out for 4 or 5 days. Is it going to clear up kind of? Is it going to go away, or is it done for? Are these seedlings done for? That's what I would like to know. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. It's never boring, is it? It's never boring. Y'all have a great day, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.